Hi, my name is Myra with Vial Designs and I create calligraphy and lettering videos just like this one every week, so be sure to hit the subscribe button and bell so you don't miss out on all the fun. In this video, I'm going to show you a step-by-step how to create a beautiful Dutch door into your bullet journal. We're gonna dive right in, and I'm gonna be mentioning all the supplies that I'm using in this video tutorial, as well as I'm gonna be adding them to the description down below. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm going over my sketch with my monoline studio pen from the Pigeon Letters, and as always I'm using my dot grid journal from Archer and Olive, which is my absolute favorite. I'm gonna put the link down below as well. If you use the code VD10 you can save 10% of your order, and of course you will be supporting me at no additional cost to you. So the first thing I did is I counted 8 squares from the border of my journal until the beginning of my doodles, and I went ahead and sketched them. Now I'm inking them. If this is your first time hearing about Dutch doors, it's basically when you cut the pages of your bullet journal so you can make certain information visible or to add more information to your spreads. Now, I know this might sound scary to cut the pages of your bullet journal, but these Dutch doors are super helpful, and so that's why this month I decided to create a Dutch door for my January cover page, and I'm gonna show you how you can do the same. And so I am creating it for January just because it is the beginning of the year and I'm setting up my new bullet journal, but you can get the same type of doodles and use it for any month. To make a Dutch door, you just want to decide the amount that you want to cut on your paper, and as I mentioned here, I counted 8 squares and I'm going to be cutting around the doodles in a little bit, but first let's keep doing this cover page. And once you're done with your outline, go ahead and erase all the pencil sketch, and now you're ready for the painting part. Here I decided to use this phonetic paint, and I'm going to be using the Pigeon Letters Studio brush round 4 to paint, and I'm going to be doing this to paint the stars. And to activate this phonetic paint, so you have to do is use a little bit of water, drop it on the paint, and with your brush make sure you mix it together until you find a consistency of the paint that you like, and then just start painting. And you might notice that you may need a little bit more water as it will start drying out, so just put water. Don't add too much water because then it's going to be a little bit more difficult to mix. Just put a little bit and then add more as necessary. So to speed up the drying process, I'm using here my heat gun, and this is a tool that I 100% recommend you have handy, just because this will help you with the drying process. It's gonna cut it in half. So once that part was completely dry, we're moving on to the feathers. To color them, I'm using my brush pens. These are the Karin Brush Marker Pro, and then I'm gonna use it for watercolor. So what I'm doing here is I'm putting it in this porcelain, and then I'm adding a little bit of water. I'm just grabbing a little bit of color from this tray, and then I'm adding water. So this technique is super easy to do. You can use any water-based colors, and then if you want it to be more opaque or more saturated, simply grab more of the color and less water. But if you don't want it to be super saturated, then add a little bit more water. And once I'm done with the blue, I'm gonna be coloring the rest of the feathers in purple, and so that's what I'm doing here. And I'm also gonna be doing the same technique to color in the January part. The last thing that I decided to do was going over the whole doodle and the whole cover page with my monoline studio pens to do the outline, and I really like how that turned out. And now it's time to do the actual Dutch door. So as I mentioned in the beginning, you want to make sure that you decide beforehand how much you want to cut. And now after I did the doodles, what I'm doing is I'm doing an outline around it, just because I don't want to cut straight on the doodle. And I'm using this little tool right here that is called a precision cutter. And I found that this has been the best way for me to cut these pages on my bullet journal. Of course, you can also use scissors or an X-Acto knife, but I just think that this one, since I'm doing so many curves, is the best one to cut. I am putting a cutting mat underneath it because you want to make sure that you don't cut your other pages when you're using this precision cutter or an X-Acto knife. So make sure you put something that is going to protect the rest of your pages in your notebook. And this is the final result for the Dutch door cover page of my January bullet journal cover. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. And here is the whole thing completed. So on the other page, I wrote a space down for my affirmations and intentions for the month, as well as the calendar. And so the calendar piece was the one thing that I wanted to show up and the reason why I made this Dutch door. I hope you enjoyed this video and that it was inspirational and helpful for you. If you recreate this cover page, be sure to tag me on Instagram at Vial, and I will see you next time with another video tutorial. Thank you for watching.